This group of conspirators offer a new pervasive challenge to the oil-burning and opium monopoly of the West, the banks, the Rockefellers, and the Bush-Saudi partnership. Global warming. The global carbon footprint tax and falsified global warming theory funded during the Clinton era was to enact a slavery of international socialism and international carbon taxes that was only thwarted temporarily by the appointment of George Bush over Al Gore in the election of 2000. 9/11 was a very dangerous day, when Western control of the global commons was teetering on the edge of a deep chasm. Many powers were laying in wait. The Russian Air Force was conducting war games in the North Atlantic and the Arctic above the Canadian airspace on 9/11. The Chinese Navy was conducting naval war games off the coast of Taiwan, the United States heroin manufacturing facilities on the north and south end of the island on 9/11. And after the attack on the Pentagon Wedge 1, the U.S. Naval Command Center, the United States Navy was no longer in contact with command. Britain handed over Hong Kong back to China in 1999, the distribution city for outgoing Britain-bound opium and heroin from the Black Corridor and its manufacturing in the Golden Triangle of Myanmar, Western China, Cambodia, Laos, and North Vietnam, all former French colonies. OIF countries and their trading partners China and India supplied explosive precursors to Saddam in violation of the UN sanctions, leading to buildings loaded with demolition explosives on 9/11, and both later received the steel girders from the World Trade Center wreckage after 9/11. The French-Canadian military, with $100 million received from Saddam Hussein 100 days before 9/11 during Amalgam Virgo, provided the Red Team infiltrators into the Global Guardian war games. We know the Taliban was gaming the opium trade set up by the CIA and the Pakistani ISI, stealing their illegal money, because there is no honor among thieves. We know that Saddam in 2000 was changing his oil exchange currency from dollars into euros for his oil, and in 2001 awarded gas drilling contracts to France and Russia instead of Dick Cheney's Halliburton. Many forces were at play that morning and before as signs leading to an international assassination of our leadership and economy by attacking the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the Capitol building to end Western globalism in a philosophical socialist military act. 9/11 was a blow to the gold, oil, opium trade, but ended as a failed coup d'etat to overthrow the result of the 2000 election. Do not think for a second that those same global industries would not be continued under socialist ownership. What was not expected was preemptive war and the retaliation and retribution extracted by the American and British war machine. It has taken 8 years for the international socialists to regather their forces to institute the global warming fraud as their latest attack on the West, a fraud that is presented in the popular press as caused by the combustion of oil from cars and factories. In fact, carbon dioxide only accounts for 0.0019% of our atmosphere. It is our ocean and atmospheric water vapor that determines this planet's average temperatures. And the sun is getting brighter due to internal solar interior fusion processes. This naturally occurring long cycle change in solar irradiance and its current increase in solar input is the driving force heating our atmosphere. The Vostok ice cores paints the real pattern. Every 90,000 years or so, an interglacial warming occurs for about 20,000 years. It ends, and the planet cools, only to warm 90,000 years later. The pattern is the cyclic activity of our sun over geologic time, not our cars. Mars is warming, and the Martian ice pack at the poles is melting. It can be certain that the Martian warming is not from cars and factories burning oil. The fear and panic put in place by the Clinton and Gore administration was only a cover for the real work that was to be done. A virtual private network that could provide secure and encrypted communications by the elite families and their industries and governments to retain control of the world economy. In the words of David Rockefeller, we are grateful to the New York Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promise of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subjected to the light of publicity through all those years. But now, the world is more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government, a supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers,
is surely preferable to the national autodetermination practiced in past centuries.
CNN pioneered closed-circuit television broadcasting, which laid the groundwork to lay in any storyline by having the password into the system, to convert news feed into virtual news feed, or propaganda feed. In the virtual war games, the red team is pretending to be treasonous. Many bits of information can be sent over an international virtual private news network. But to maintain this system of encrypted communication, drug money and strategic banking, monetary manipulation, oil, opium, and money, the persons responsible and critical had to be pardoned in order that they could manipulate the assassination of Western leadership. To spot, shoot, snuff, spin, and spoil, and make it believable over the network feed to a shocked and awed American public waking up on a Tuesday morning in September. And sometimes the coordination of that virtual private network is botched. And because it is botched, it is now transparent. That transparency allows us to stop the next event by penetrating the defenses and identifying the persons responsible, and thereby revealing their plans for the future.